you for your presence here. The question I have is, has the department done any research on card check versus mandatory vote?
Here's the answer.
What section is that?
It says here.
Yes, we have, and in fact, the department produced a report back in 2013. At that time, the minister was Minister Lynch and Kelly Leach, sorry. And in it, it says, in this study, we examined the link between the adoption of a mandatory vote regime and this decline in the business sector union density. So, as I mentioned before, we've seen a decrease in unionization over the last few decades. And we found the use of an mandatory voting MR regime has been an important factor in the decline in union density in the Canadian business sector. It was estimated that had all Canadian jurisdictions not used an MV regime for union certification starting in 1997, business sector union density would have been substantially higher in 2012. Simulations show that union density would have increased by around half a percentage point from 1997 instead of dropping by 4 percentage points. Pardon me, and I'd like to table the report for the committee. I think it's very interesting to see the statistics on the effects of mandatory voting versus card check, and card check has been proven over the years to be a very satisfactory and very efficient system, democratic, and it worked well. So the change actually reduced unionization.
Thank you, Minister. Just following up with that, so you mentioned that report is dated November 2013, is that right?
November 2013.
Okay, and so C-525 was passed in April 2014, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so was the department's research publicly available? I'm just wondering why the report was dated November 2013 and the bill was passed 2014, whether the department research was made publicly available to people.
No, it was not made publicly available. It was internal departmental research. And it was available, of course, to the minister, to exempt staff, and one would assume the Prime Minister's office. So this would have been part of the rationale for bringing in the bills when they did.
Okay, thank you. I'm just curious as to why, if you have a report that actually supports the card check process, why the evidence-based report would be hidden or kept silent from the public when this was the very issue that was being discussed. Do you have any further comments on why a report that would support the current system would be hidden and not be circulated and supported? It's evidence-based and it's research that's been done. So is there any, do you have any reason or knowledge as to why it was not made public?
Well, you know, this is a bit of speculation, and I'd like to say that I wasn't in the Conservative caucus, although there were members that I came to officially see in my role as a member of the exploration industry in Canada. So I know many of the members of the former government. And business people generally want harmony in the workplace. There are sometimes political agendas that go well beyond what business would find reasonable or even asked for. And in this case, I think the bills were clearly an attack on organized labor at a time that it wasn't called for and wasn't merited. The decision to unionize really comes up down to Canadians themselves. And more of our young generation are looking at new models of employment and are not choosing to become unionized. That's by their choice. They don't need a heavy-handed government to come in and bring in tricks which make unionization more difficult. But they have the intelligence and we have the faith that Canadians are choosing the right way. It seemed to be a purely political decision because the overall trend, as the report shows, that Canadians were choosing not to become unionized. This isn't a serious threat to businesses, and in fact, the report indicates that it wasn't warranted. So one would have to conclude it was a political agenda.